at the New York event, which really was extraordinary and very thoughtful and very intense. I wrote a speech. That's the only way I got through it. I have not written a speech tonight. What I want to talk about a little bit is going back a little ways with you, Sam, to New York. I met Sam through my friend John Pearson, who had been with me at the NYU Department of Cinema Studies. And he said, "You have to meet this guy, Sam Kidd." All right. And he had started this thing called American Mavericks, this program in New York. And there were these amazing movies, and I got to meet him, and we talked, and it was great. And then we all started another exhibition venue at the Harold Clurman together. And we called one program Outlaw Cinema, and we booked John Waters. It was John Pearson and Sam Kidd and Tom Prassis and a group of people. And what struck me talking to Ray Price the other day is that back then there was no name for this. There was no independence. It wasn't something that had been branded, that we all knew what it was. We were all groping for something. And when I moved to Los Angeles, John and Sam and everyone said, Tom, everybody said, "You have to meet Bingham Ray. You have to meet, this is who you have to meet." And that was because we were all sort of searching for the same thing. And Bingham really was the person who helped to define what we now consider to be independent cinema. This community that we all are part of. The reason we're all freaking out, the reason we're all so moved and so distressed and so feel this void that is in our lives is because he helped us to know what we cared about, and he reflected back to us what was important to us, and he helped us to recognize what we cared about, and to, I'm upset about it, you're upset about it, but let's celebrate it and take it inside ourselves and go forward and do what we can to keep him part of what we care about. That's all I have to say.
So, Chris McGurk made me promise to ask Rob Carliner to come up and tell a story, a very serious story about the White House.
Totally unfair, Chris, by the way, because he's not even here.
He is here.
Oh, he is here. Good. I had the pleasure of producing 2 movies with Bingham, The Apostle way back, and Assassination Tango, both with Robert Duvall. And I've been all over the world with Bingham on The Apostle ride, Cannes to the Academy Awards. But one particular event stands out in my mind because it's so unique, especially for those of us who work in independent films. So we were invited to the White House for a screening of The Apostle. This was shortly after the Monica Lewinsky scandal first broke. And it was a crazy, crazy time. No one had been into the White House. Clinton hadn't made any appearances, and we were actually the first people into the White House. So I fly in with Farrah Fawcett, who's a supporting role in the movie, who at the time was not the most stable of people, and all the executives from Universal. And of course we were late, and I remember showing up at the hotel at the Four Seasons, everybody waiting for us, looking like, where have you guys been? Farrah was completely out of control. No one could wrangle her. So we get to the White House, we arrive late, and everybody's standing around wondering, what's going to happen. No one really could figure out the vibe. And Farrah pulled me and Bingham aside into the blue room. And we were standing there under the portrait of Abraham Lincoln and George Washington. And I'm sitting on a couch with Bingham and Farrah Fawcett. And she reaches into her purse and she pulls out a piece of paper. And on this piece of paper, she had hand sketched 2 gigantic penises, essentially, on this piece of paper. Both different shapes. And she looks to me and to Bingham and she said, you know, there were these rumors that the president had a distinguishing characteristic or something at the time. And she looks to Bingham and she goes, so which one do you think most resembles the president? And I'm sitting there in shock, obviously, because there's so many things wrong with this picture, it was impossible to know where to begin. And I'll never forget, Bingham looks her in the eye and goes, you should use the one that points to the left. and that was definitely Bingham. And I had the pleasure of calling him a friend and knowing him personally and professionally for many, many years. So that's my White House Bingham story.
There was a rumor that Fisher Stevens was around. Is that rumor correct? Ah, it's correct. Good to see you, buddy. Take it.
Okay. What an incredible group of friends Bingham had. And I have more of a current story. I met Bingham with Matt Dillon during Drugstore Cowboy, and Matt's like, man, you gotta meet this guy. He's unbelievable. You won't believe it. He is independent cinema. He is, you know. And he meant a lot to Matt, I know, and to me. Recently, I got an incredible job to direct a film, and it actually is a film that Bingham helped to develop. And it's the reason I'm in California right now, and we had real trouble casting this film, and I'd always call Bingham for advice, who's no longer working on the film, but he's executive producing. And he'd always just go, you know, Fisher, don't worry about what they say, man. Just do it, Fuck them, man. Just do it. Cast who you want, man. Fuck them. Like, I love that, Bingham. That's great, but it's not working for me, man. They don't listen. Fuck them anyway. Anyway, so I just want to say that we're dedicating this film to Bingham, and he is the executive producer on the film, and I'm just so grateful to have gotten to spend a bunch of incredible time and phone conversations with him over the last couple of months, and so we're dedicating the film to him, and I miss him, and I know you all do too. So thank you.
Do we have any other brave souls out there? Hadi Chubb? No. Howard Rodman. All right. All right. Thumbs up for Howard, thumbs down for Connie.
Thank you, Connie. I've known Bingham a little bit for a long time. I think in something like 1997 or 98, I found myself in his office in October Films trying to convince him to finance a film I wrote, which was very uncommercial and quite expensive. And I was nervous and walked in, and I was ready to sort of pitch, and he said, is it Delmer Davies or Delmer Daves? And I, this is, you know, and he was saying, you know, because two of his films are better than William Wellman's in the same period. And I said, I think it's Delmer Daves. He said, you're wrong, it's Davies. So we argued for about 20 minutes about whether it was Delmer Daves or Delmer Davies, just as a footnote. Of course he was right. And then after that, I told him a little bit about this very uncommercial and not inexpensive film. And he pointed to this large poster above his desk of Lost Highway. And he just said, you know, I lost my shorts on that movie, and I would do it again. And the film I wrote, and the film that so many other people in this room wrote or directed or produced, owe their existence to Bingham Ray's not only willingness, but ecstatic desire to lose his khaki shorts again and again and again, and we are all of us more for